Welcome, and thank you all for standing by. As a reminder, today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. To help minimize the background noise, please use your mute feature. If you do not have a mute button, you may press *6 to mute and unmute your phone. Sir, you may proceed.
This is Mark Crouch. Good afternoon and/or good morning, depending on what's appropriate. Welcome to this webinar addressing soil survey training plans and on-the-job training for the NRCS MRA Soil Survey Office, and in some cases out there, field office employees. Rationale for today: the most important trainers in the National Cooperative Soil Survey are the Soil Survey Office leaders and the resource soil scientists who provide training and guidance on an almost daily basis. This needs to be done as consistently as possible across the country to benefit the new employee and the NCSS. Hence, we have 3 objectives for today's webinar. We hope that if upon completion, you will be able to utilize 2 training plans available to consistently address training, locate and utilize resources available to address training within the MRA Soil Survey offices and our NRCS field offices, and provide consistent and effective OJT to employees to the benefit of the employee, the Soil Survey Office, the NCSS, and NRCS. We're going to take a little stop right here, and let's check National Bulletins. First, as a bulletin is what prompted this webinar. You should check e-directives periodically for National Bulletins that may affect you. Check under both 430 and 360 when you do that. Someone at NHQ make a decision as to which area any National Bulletin will be placed, and I sometimes can't figure that out which way they're going to go. For example, our Soil Science Institute and Soil Geomorphology Institute bulletins go out under 360 personnel. This bulletin, this 430 National Bulletin, is released in April and addresses our topic area today. Now, anybody out there see this bulletin, or any of you did not see it? Anybody want to answer that? No one wants to admit one way or the other? They're all on mute. All right, you're all on mute. Okay. We'll move on. Now, back to our topic. It all starts with an employee IDP. Your state provides guidance and the format to use. We also provide a template here on our web pages. However, we understand that within the next couple of years, the agency will go to an exclusive use of the IDP option in AgLearn. Obviously, you must tailor an IDP to each individual, starting with a set of goals based on the individual's experience, education, training. This plan is dynamic, changing as you learn more about your employee and as your employee gains experience and receives training. Here's how you currently navigate to our training web pages for the National Cooperative Soil Survey, starting at Soils, Home, Soil Education, and then select the NCSS training option down the left side. A first stop on our NCSS training pages would be to look at the syllabuses of learning we provide. The indicated syllabus with the red arrow provides you with a guide for the first 3 years of an employee's service. Take a look at it on your own sometime and see what we line out in that syllabus. Next up on our web pages would be a section addressing IDPs. Here's where you would find training plans referenced in the National Bulletin that we're referencing here today, as well as the ID template that we provide and just mentioned. A group of your peers, including a university representative, developed these 2 plans last summer. These plans are the ones that you may have uploaded today if you looked at that option on the opening slide. The new Soil Scientist Training Plan starts with a stated goal. Note that within that goal, relates the plan to the first 12 to 24 months of service, is done in conjunction with OJT, References NRCS required courses for all new employees, not just soil scientists, and lists out 4 courses that are currently recommended for all our new soil scientists in their initial training period. This plan has 13 subject areas included, and they are organized in a target sequence for you to follow. We'll recognize them on some following slides. But first, each subject area includes rationale for that subject, rationale for learning, and learning objectives. Note the columns for target and achieve proficiency levels, training method, and etc. The plan allows you to track progress and achievement. Some learning objectives will have activities for the trainee or the trainer and trainee to perform. You can see 2 examples here. The first one having to do with reading Ag Handbook 296, and another one there relates back to the objective, going through the 5 cycles, and we'll touch base on that here shortly. Some will have target OJT modules to complete to assist in learning. There's 2 examples here, complete appropriate OJT module 001, and you'll see the other one there. We'll be talking more about these in a few minutes. Some will have NRCS standards as references. Review the plan sometime on your own time, and make the effort to use it. Its overarching purpose is twofold. Target areas where training is necessary to address the needs of the National Cooperative Soil Survey and to provide consistency in training our new people. Now we'll go through the recommended sequence. It starts out, first subject area being administrative programs and other NRCS technical programs. And I'm doing screenshots here because I'm trying to give you awareness of the plan. At the end of our presentation today, I can go in with you and take a look at the plans if you have some questions, if you've downloaded and have taken a look and want to discuss it at all. But right now, all we're doing is highlighting to give you some awareness. So we start out with administrative programs. National Cooperative Soil Survey and MO standards. So we've got national and MO standards, and we have websites. Then we move on to Soil Survey Area Library. What do they have? What do you have in those offices as a library? Then we get into soil interpretations from the standpoint that everything we do is driven by the interps we want to develop down the road. Next, we prepare for the field and lab. We get into documentation for soil survey. Then describing and classifying soils, methods, and procedures. And then we get into the map unit concept. Then our next 2 have to do, they're kind of related, soil landscape relationships and mapping methods and procedures. The plan includes objectives for mapping methods and procedures, both old school and digital. This was a major emphasis in developing this plan. We need to maintain the skill of our people in recognizing the relationship of our product to the landscape, not just holes in the ground. Then we follow that up with digital map editing procedures, soil survey quality control, quality assurance, and correlation, and the National Soil Information System and other computer-assisted programs used in soil survey. All of these will have target proficiency levels below probably being able to do independently. Remember, this is while we're training our new people. The second plan, referenced in the bulletin, targets our student hires. There are 2 categories. We have STEP, the Student Temporary Experience Program, which is a work experience program with no job guarantee. And we have STEP, the Student Career Experience Program, essentially a hired person working until graduation and assuming full-time employment at that point in time. This is usually summer employment, but it is not limited to that. Hence, we named it the Summer Employee Training Plan. Note that our goal is to make their time with us a learning experience versus solely a pack animal experience. It's up to you to make this happen. Hence, we prepared this objective: provide the summer employee with a positive experience through training and exposure to the National Cooperative Soil Survey and Natural Resources Conservation Service. 11 of the 13 objectives from the new soil scientist training plan are included in the plan for the STEP employees, modified appropriately for target proficiency and time they will have on board with us. For example, use of OJT modules is not a part of the STEP plan. It's been removed. This plan is envisioned by the university folks to be used as a recruitment tool. It will help us get their students interested in the soil survey opportunity when they can actually see what it is they will accomplish. A retention tool, they will want to come back to us if they're trained versus used. A training tool, they get training that will benefit them and the agency if they become full-time employees later. And a measuring stick for accomplishment. Many of these students are getting college credit in their STEP or SCEP activities, and universities may use the completed plan to see what was accomplished as part of their evaluation and grading process. We should, as an agency, be using this plan in the recruitment of STEP employees. We probably need to remind our recruiters and university folks about this plan and its potential, because people do forget down the road. It's part of the reason why we're doing this webinar. That bulletin came out in April, and who knows how many of you saw it or even remembered it. Hence, the webinar. Okay, let's talk OJT. Our web pages provide information to help you as an OJT provider. It starts with a guide. It's circled here. You can go to the website, take a look at the guide on your own time sometime. And then we also include an OJT module for providing OJT. You know, imagine that. Take a look at it on your own sometime also. It'll take you through the steps, and actually I'm going to show you some of those steps here shortly. Very shortly. The module will introduce you to the 5 steps in providing OJT. You will find 2 different cycles addressing skill and knowledge learning. So first off, first step would be the trainer and trainee would establish shared mental model of the module. The trainer would demonstrate task as the trainer observes. The trainer would coach as the trainee performs the task. The trainer would observe as the trainee performs tasks and gives feedback somewhat independently. And then if everything's all hunky-dory, you've wrapped up with a debrief. When you get to the knowledge base, you still got that mental model. You're looking at reviewing materials provided, a discussion of those materials. You may have some kind of performance task using the knowledge learned, and if everything's good to go, you move on, debrief, and wrap up the module. You may have noted on a previous slide, screenshot, some job aids for task analysis and creating OJT modules that we have on our web pages. But most of this has already been done for you. Here's where you find them on our web pages. There are currently 102 and growing modules prepared and posted for use with soil survey employees, and 43 for those who provide training to non-soil scientists in our agency. And what I'm going to do right now is take you there. If I can get my cursor over to the right screen. And the internet is slow in and out of this building. I don't know if you're seeing it yet. I'm not. I got an hourglass, so hang on a second. Okay. Yep, there we go. So here's the opening page on the job training modules. I got a slide later, shortly, to show you the module completion checklist. But here we go. They're organized into series. The 0 series has to do with map unit design and mapping soils. And you can see, I'll scroll down through slowly. There's 25 of those currently. Then we get into soil describing in the 100 series. We get into soil classification in the 200 series. The 300 has to do with documentation. The 400 has to do with sampling and characterization. The 500 has to do with soil survey information. The 600 equipment use and operation. And we have a 700 series reserved for ecological inventory. With the ecological people on site here at the National Soil Survey Center now, we hope to be looking at these somewhere in the near future as they work out their training. And we have a list here we call it for OJT, for Technical Soil Services Providers. These are for our resource soil scientists or anybody involved in technical soil services who may have an opportunity to train our new non-soil scientists in soils and soil survey. 3 categories here. The 1000 series has to do with soil science. The 1100 series has to do with soil survey. And then we have a suite in the 1200 series of describing soils, which would touch base with what we felt. And we, being a group of your peers from around the country, developed these lists. What they would need to know in the way of basic description of soils. Now we'll try and get back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So these OJT modules are currently accessed through our web pages. That's the only way you have access right now. We hope to eventually post these within AgLearn so that completion can be included in the learning history for the employee who completes them. We have agreement with NEDS to do this. They just don't have the manpower, haven't had the manpower in the last year to work with us on this. Almost all these modules have been converted to a PDF format. This format includes the module and job aids and evaluation documents, which are attachments within the PDF file. So let's take a look at that. Each module has a cover sheet with information to help the OJT provider. The objectives are listed here. And obviously it's important that the OJT provider be up to snuff on the subject area before trying to deliver the training. The cover sheet helps direct that. The template provides areas for trainer preparation, special requirements, and procedure, as well as listing prerequisite modules for the training. And it gives a cycle for that particular module, whether it's a skill or a knowledge base. And it has the meat of it, the lesson is provided. Most include the cycle steps within the lesson to help guide you. Through the task analysis phase, which was done to break down jobs, we do into appropriate small chunks. The majority, though not all of them, but the majority of modules are developed to require only about 30 to 45 minutes to complete. This makes it possible to include these in an almost daily routine of 1 per day or some such thing without taking you totally out of production mode for training purposes. Most, though not all, have a method to measure learning in the form of an activity, such as this one with a mapping assignment, or a quiz, which should be spelled out if a quiz is included. It will be noted there's a quiz below. And then a performance report form is also a part of the package for each. Job aids were mentioned. All job aids are either attached within the PDF file and are clicked to open, or links for a click and go are provided within the lesson plan itself. However, recently we have found that you may or may not be able to open these directly. In other words, if you clicked on one of these files in the attachment window, you may get a window telling you about security issues. And what we found there, this will force you to save the file and then open it off your computer. If you're not able to even save it, then we have a real problem. So far, we've been able to save and go from there. Links there include going to assigned reading in the handbook, the manual, and other standards, and website locations for info belonging to others. Note that if a quiz is involved to measure learning, the answer file is provided as a job aid. Also, the performance report form referenced previously is attached as a job aid. If and when we go to AgLearn with these modules, evaluation of performance will be handled within that structure and procedures. We have posted a PDF form for use as a completion checklist. I mentioned this earlier when I was live on the site. For you to use as a tool as you complete these OJT modules, one for each set of modules that we have. Note that we also have other job aids posted on the soils.usda.gov website. Sometime go take a look and see what we have posted or linked to there. You can access them from either the education menu item followed by NCSS training and job aids, or the technical references, which allow you to go directly select job aids. We are moving forward with plans for more job aids in the form of videos. This is being led by Sean McVeigh here at the center. We are using YouTube to post videos and plan to do much more of this in the future. We just posted a video prepared by the University of Nebraska-Lincoln that covers the hydrometer method as used in the MLRA Soil Survey Office. And we're going to take another shot right now and take you there. Here we are at YouTube. You can see what they call a channel, I guess. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in YouTube myself, but you see our link to this would be if you were to enter NRCS NSSC. Note right now we have 3 videos posted. We have the one I'm going to show you right now that has 2 versions, one with and one without captions. And you'll notice that what I'm showing you right now, a video that was prepared by Kansas State University as a follow-up to the Soil Science Institute that was there in June. Note also that you have an option to subscribe. So when we add new videos to the site in the future, you'll get a notice that they're there. Now what I want to do I'm not going to give you the whole thing. This thing's about 6 minutes long, but UNL did a very nice job. This is kind of the look and feel we're going to use with them anytime we do a video with them.
Of amyl alcohol to the cylinder. This will reduce the surface tension of the foam's bubbles, causing them to burst and the foam to subside. This should be done prior to filling the cylinder to the 1,000 milliliter line. After the cylinder has been filled,
like I said, 6 minutes long. I'm not going to do the whole thing. This is just an example of what we're doing now, trying to do with our videos. I'll get back to the PowerPoint show. And let you know that Sean is currently organizing an effort with NEDS. So we're not going to still work with UNL exclusively. We're going to be working with NEDC and this effort is to complete a suite of 25 or so videos to support each of our OJT modules for describing soils. with filming to begin in September, we hope. We are also planning a video which may or may not be done as a 360-degree tour within various areas of the National Soil Survey Lab. Other videos will come as we go down the road to help you in doing your job and providing good and consistent OJT. In summary, you should know now where to find the tools available to help you plan and provide OJT that is consistent with other offices across the country. This can only benefit everyone. Have fun with this. Our most important trainers are those of you who are with our new people every day. The National Cooperative Soil Survey is depending on you in this effort. And that actually concludes the webinar. Might set a record for shortness. Remember to consult your Soil Survey Division National Soil Survey Center Training Coordinator, currently me, anytime you need training-related assistance. So I ask you now, are there any questions? Is there anybody really interested in taking a closer look at one or more of those two plans? Now is the time to unmute. And with silence, I will assume I've accomplished my goal of awareness of these plans and our OJT modules, and we'll go ahead and sign out. You all have a good one.
No.
No? Go ahead.
For some of us who would like to be walked through them, could you go ahead and do it, and the rest of them can sign out?
I'll open it up right now as I'm ready for that.
And no, I don't like your coat and tie.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. I can't even wear them right now. My coat and ties are in Florida. I'm here. So, I'm looking at the plan right now, opening a training plan for new soil scientists and NCSS program. And I'll scroll down. There's the goal I referenced. There's the proficiency levels. We got the cycles. And then we get into the subject areas. So would there be any particular thing you'd like to look at, Roy? You can note learning objectives. We got a target proficiency level. We got a training method. And these will be with each one of our subject areas. We have rationale for each of our subject areas.
I was more interested in the training they're expected to get from field offices, since many of our soil survey offices are now kind of separate from field operations. How that's spelled out.
It's not in this plan. This plan was from the soil survey side of things. That would be something you want in their IDP, but it's not a part of this particular plan. Other than, you'll see the items here under administrative programs and such. You look down at 5 and 6. And maybe it does tie into what you're thinking about, other than time-wise. Yes. Both of those are listed as OJT with the local DC and resource soil scientists. So I'm sure you want to have them spend more time than what this plan is reflecting. Note also that some of the required training for all employees goes that direction also. You know, up to the state cons, whether anyone actually, soil science attends boot camp or not. Is there anything else anybody'd like to look at?
Mark, I know that some of the states have developed SCEP and STEP training plans, standard products for all employees. It looks like this probably needs to be integrated with those, especially for the soil scientists.
We would hope that plan was, we had Dr. Mickey Ransom from Kansas State University involved with that work group last summer. We had a group come here to Lincoln to develop these two plans. Well, that STEP-SCEP plan he pretty much initiated, said we could really use something that ties our people into what you're doing. And I lined up the 4 reasons why that plan, what he felt that the university people would look at as far as how that plan could be utilized. So yes, it depends on you all in the field, the state soil scientists, to remember that this thing exists and to make use of it. The key thing is remembering it's there. I've got the subject 10, mapping methods and procedures. Now, under alerting objectives, we have some real basic things. I wanted to point out, remember in the slides I went through, it touched base on old school versus current digital methods. We hashed this out. We felt like they ought to be able to go out in the ground with that paper map and that topo and leastwise be able to navigate that way, have some understanding of the landscape without that GPS screen in their face. And you'll note that we only have them as a goal map an area of about 500 acres. It's nothing more than to get their feet wet and understand. Then the objectives move on to using current methods. So I'm down to objective 5, produce an analog hand-drawn soil map. And depending on the area you're in, you get into ecological sites in regards to that. Then I get down to objective 7. Now I'm into using current tools and techniques. This is how we would produce maps now, how you would do it, what are your resources in your particular soil survey area, and use those procedures. And there's a little larger area. We recommend an area greater than 500 acres or 2,000 acres in order as a test area to see what they've learned. Anything else?
Hey, Mark, this is Steve in Colorado. Our admin people here are really saying every position has to have an IDP or training plan. And when you get into these, these guys at the senior positions have been around for 30 years, are you guys working on any kinds of templates or ideas for these experienced senior kinds of positions?
No, we have not been. If enough people make enough noise, we could look into it, but I'm not sure that's going to be so different from one individual to another. Some of the things coming down the road you may be able to perk up with and get these people involved in, remote sensing, our digital soil mapping courses and that opportunities that are, the raster world that's coming. There's some new things coming that you're going to be able to, sick people onto as far as training. Only thing I can think of beyond that is what we've done here at the center is pretty much each of us have had an IDP for several years now, and it basically just references our standard training that we're required to do, the security, the ethics, the EO kind of stuff.
What about training, conferences and meetings for tech transfer? Would you put that in some of your training plans, individual development plans?
Well, when you go in to do the IDP in AgLearn, you actually have to have a goal first, an overarching goal. What do you want to accomplish? And then you can start selecting things, either actually grabbing it out of AgLearn or something outside you would put in there. So if it's some kind of a workshop or something like that, in that situation, you have the goal first, and then you can start adding activities or actions, and a workshop would be one of those.
Okay.
Or a conference. You're there to get the latest and greatest on
technology.
Right.
That's one way of get people to SSA or things like that is to have it on their training plan. And then if budgets allow.
So this future of AgLearn, some of these templates that you've developed and all, are they going to be like we can just upload them into AgLearn, or are we going to have to go through that convoluted process?
You're going to have to go through the process.
I was afraid of. Okay.
As far as the IDP, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the IDP.
Yeah, there's no way around. You're going to have to go in and do that. Realize too that down the road, they've been working on these competencies. I mean, their whole goal, and I don't know if they'll ever get there or not, but these competencies are going to show gaps. They're going to take this position, they're going to take competencies. This position is supposed to have certain competencies, and ag learners supposedly down the road will flag areas of concern in your where you need training. And if it exists, then somehow or another you're going to be able to go in and select either formal or informal courses. The informal courses would be the things you can just grab and go with on your own, like the SkillSoft stuff that's in there. Our OJT modules, in a way, are considered informal training. They're kind of a grab and go type of thing. They're not scheduled.
All right, thanks.
Anything else? All right. Going once, going twice. You all have a good one.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mark.